Welcome. Today we're exploring the most recognized symbol from ancient Egypt. A symbol older than the pyramids. A symbol that has represented life itself for over 5,000 years. The Ankh. You've seen it everywhere. On jewelry, tattoos, ancient temple walls. A cross with a loop at the top. Simple, yet unmistakable. But few people know what it truly meant to the Egyptians who carved it into every sacred surface they could find. Let's start with what you're looking at. The Ankh is shaped like a cross, with a loop at the top instead of a vertical line. In Latin, it's called the crux ansata, the cross with a handle. Some called it the key of life, others the key of the Nile. The ancient Egyptians called it Ankh, which meant life. The symbol was a hieroglyph representing the word for life and everything associated with it. Breath, existence, vitality, immortality. But it was more than just a word. It was a talisman, a sacred emblem held by gods and given to pharaohs as a blessing. The Ankh appeared everywhere in ancient Egypt. Painted on temple walls, carved into tomb inscriptions, worn as amulets made of gold, lapis lazuli, and carnelian, depicted in the hands of every major deity. And always, it meant the same thing: life. Not just the life you live on Earth, but the life that continues after death. Now, here's where it gets interesting. No one knows for certain where the Ankh came from. Scholars have debated its origin for over a century. One theory suggests it's a sandal strap, since the Egyptian word for sandal shares the same root as Ankh. But this never gained widespread acceptance. The most accepted theory comes from Egyptologist E.A. Wallace Budge. He believed the Ankh originated from the tayet, the knot of Isis, a ceremonial girdle representing fertility. The loop represents the womb. The cross represents the union of male and female. Together, they create life. This aligns with how the Ankh was used. It was associated with Isis and Osiris, whose union was believed to flood the Nile and bring fertility to Egypt. That's why it was called the Key of the Nile. Another theory suggests it represents the sun rising on the horizon. The loop is the sun. The horizontal bar is the horizon. The vertical bar is the sun's path across the sky. But the truth is, we don't know. The Ankh predates written records explaining its origin. What we do know is what it meant. The Ankh was life, and in ancient Egypt, life didn't end with death. It transformed. That's why you see it in the hands of gods. Osiris holds it. Isis offers it to pharaohs. Anubis places it against the lips of the dead to revive them. Gods would hold the Ankh to a pharaoh's nose, giving him the breath of life. The Ankh wasn't just a symbol, it was the source. Everyday Egyptians wore Ankh amulets for protection. They believed it could ward off evil, bring health, and ensure safe passage to the afterlife. In tombs, it appeared on sarcophagi and burial goods. The dead held it, seeking the same immortality their gods possessed. Pharaohs included Ankh in their names. Tutankhamun meant living image of Amun. The symbol was used in blessings. When Egyptians wished someone well, they would say phrases including Ankh, meaning may you live, or may you be healthy. Water poured over pharaohs in purification rituals was shown as streams of tiny ankhs washing over them. The Ankh controlled air and water, the forces that sustained all existence. The Ankh was also linked to knowledge. Placed between the eyes of an initiate, it symbolized clairvoyance, the ability to see beyond the physical world. This is why the Ankh endured. Even as Egypt's religion evolved, the symbol remained. During the Amarna period, When Pharaoh Akhenaten tried to erase all the old gods and replace them with Aten, the Ankh survived. It appeared at the ends of light rays from Aten's solar disk, still representing life. When Akhenaten died and his son Tutankhamun took the throne, he restored the old religion. The Ankh remained unchanged. But the Ankh's story doesn't end with ancient Egypt. In the 4th century CE, as Christianity spread through Egypt, the symbol found new life. The Coptic Christians adopted the Ankh as their own. They called it the crux ansata, the handled cross. To them, it was a perfect representation of their faith, a cross symbolizing Christ's sacrifice, a loop symbolizing eternal life through resurrection. Early Christians, dismantling the Great Temple in Alexandria, noticed cross-like signs carved into stone. The pagans said it meant life to come. The Christians claimed it as their own, seeing in the Ankh a prophecy of Christ's cross. The Coptic Church still uses the Ankh today. It appears in their art, textiles, and religious iconography. The symbol that once represented Isis and Osiris became the symbol of life after death through Jesus. The Ankh bridged two religions separated by millennia. It survived because its meaning was universal. In the 20th century, the Ankh experienced a resurgence. During the 1960s, as Western culture became fascinated with ancient spirituality and African heritage, the Ankh reappeared. For people of African descent, it became a symbol of cultural identity, a link to their ancestors, a reminder that Africa produced one of the most advanced civilizations in human history. For neo-pagans and spiritual seekers, the Ankh represented ancient wisdom, a connection to the mysteries of the past. For the Goth subculture, particularly after the 1983 film The Hunger, the Ankh became associated with vampires and immortality. Today, the Ankh is everywhere, in jewelry, tattoos, fashion, art. It's one of the most recognized symbols in the world. People wear it without fully understanding its history, but the meaning still resonates. Life, protection, eternity, the hope that death is not the end. Some see it as a talisman for vitality, believing it carries the same protective power it held for ancient Egyptians. Others view it as a spiritual symbol, connecting them to ancient knowledge and wisdom traditions. In Kemetism, contemporary religious practices based on ancient Egyptian beliefs, the Ankh remains central. Practitioners use it in rituals and meditation, much as their ancestors did thousands of years ago. In metaphysical circles, the Ankh is interpreted as representing the union of opposites. The loop symbolizes the feminine, the eternal, the infinite. The cross below represents the masculine, the material, the finite. Their union creates balance and the spark of life itself. Some modern interpretations see the Ankh as a key to higher consciousness. The loop represents the mind or soul elevated above earthly concerns. It's viewed as a symbol of spiritual awakening and the journey from material existence to divine understanding. But the Ankh carries weight. Even when its origin is forgotten, the symbol still speaks. It tells us that the ancient Egyptians understood something profound, that life is not a moment, but a continuum, that existence doesn't end, it transforms. The Ankh was their assurance, their key, their promise that what they cherished would endure. And perhaps that's why the symbol endures too, because 5,000 years later, we still ask the same questions. What happens when we die? Is there something beyond? The Ankh doesn't answer those questions, but it offers hope. The same hope it offered to a pharaoh blessed by Isis. The same hope it offered to a farmer burying an amulet with his child. The same hope it offers to someone today, wearing it around their neck. The Ankh is not just a relic. It's a reminder that the desire for life, for meaning, for something that lasts beyond the grave, is timeless. The Egyptians didn't invent that desire, but they gave it a form. A symbol so simple and powerful that it has outlived empires, religions, and civilizations. The loop and the cross, the key and the lock, the breath and the body. Life. That's what the Ankh meant then. That's what it means now. Because some symbols don't die. They transform. They endure. The Ankh is one of them. A 5,000-year-old hieroglyph still speaking to us, still offering the same gift it always has. The promise of life. And the hope that life never truly ends.